trust. You built up Twitter India to a large extent. You would have worked with a lot of those people who were tweeting those messages. What do you feel when you hear that 50% of Twitter India is gone?
Yeah, I think Vishnu, is quite sad to see this. I think I was not expecting this to happen this quickly, and also such a massive layoff at the India team. So my heart goes out to everyone who got laid off today. I think in general, there is a trend towards, all companies going towards profitability. And we have seen that in the startup world in India as well, and also globally. But I think Twitter has been hit by two things at the same time. One is, of course, the imminent recession. And I think most companies are sort of tightening up the belts. But in this case, of course, there is a whole Elon factor and the need to sort of the pressure he's facing to bring things in a much better shape than he has inherited. So clearly a very difficult situation for most of the tweeps. And I think I have reached out to many of them, offered my help. And I think I would also request the community at large to help out. And I think that's what I have to say today.
Destroyed Twitter India, some of those sacked, for example, very important members of content moderation. You've got millions of users in India, among the largest anywhere in the world. Why would Elon Musk want to do something like this in a market which is so important?
Yeah, I think if I look at all the tweets that you shared and also looked at the kind of names you shared, I think one thing is very clear, right? One is there's a bit of a consolidation. So I think it seems to me that Elon wants to consolidate critical functions centrally. So that would mean engineering, content moderation, etc., rather than having anyone in the region. That's number one. Number two is that if someone is not working directly on a important product, or is revenue generating, I think it's very likely that that person would have been laid off today. That's what it seems like to me, looking at the names that you flashed. And clearly, I'm out of Twitter for the last 1 year, so I'm not very close to the recent happenings. But
Could you tell us, Manish, a little bit about the working culture of Twitter? Because we've read all sorts of things. On the one hand, all of these people have said fantastic learning experience, etc., etc. On the other hand, people have called it brutal, that they were overworked, they were stretched completely, and now they find themselves out of a job after Musk came in. A, did you ever expect something so radical to take place? And B, what was the working culture in Twitter?
Yeah, no, so I mentioned that I was not expecting things to move so quickly within a week of takeover, because of course, whenever there's a takeover that happens, I think you would do some knowledge transfer, you would sort of do a handover takeover. I think it seems to me that, they have taken a very high level, broad brush view of saying, okay, are you working on a critical product? Yes or no. And number two, are you in charge of a critical set of revenue or clients? Yes or no. And I think if the answer is no, then I think they have taken a very, very high level view and sort of just laid off those people.
Yeah.
That's what they have done. So that's pretty, I would say, pretty harsh and pretty broad brush.
Yeah.
Now, on the culture side, I think it was a culture where I think we stood up for one another. I think there was a lot of emphasis on really learning and also teaching. And there's a lot of focus on really building something with local market context in mind. So I think all that is changing. I think my sense now is that there's a clear focus on work
revenue
on
generation. No, I get that $8 thing. I understand, but Manish, the reason why I'm not entirely convinced that is all that this is about is because of what, for example, Musk has been tweeting in the last little while, just a couple of hours, if that. He's tweeted, Twitter's had a massive drop in revenue. Okay, I get that. Due to activist groups pressurizing advertisers, even though nothing has changed with content moderation, and we did everything we could do to appease the activists. Extremely messed up. They're trying to destroy free speech in America. So this entire business of free speech, which he champions, which all of us champion, and yet the entire issue of moderating free speech, which doesn't sit well with him. How is this, in a sense, a battle within Twitter?
Yeah, I think, you have to understand why this has happened, right? I mean, all the major media agencies have put a moratorium on spending on Twitter, right? And that went into effect last week since he took over, right? So clearly, all these ad spends happen through major agencies, and I think they are putting a hold on this. Also, major brands have sort of stayed away and said, okay, let us see how the dust settles. So I think it is more of that versus anything else, right? And I think clearly some of the messages that have gone out has not been received quite well with the advertising community. particularly particularly important for them is brand safety, and they want to ensure that their ads are shown next to the right set of content. And clearly, lack of any kind of comfort there or any kind of assurance there has rattled them. So that's probably the reason.
Yeah.
Plus, of course, I think the team has not been focusing on revenue generation, like all the ad sales teams or the client servicing team. I mean, with so much distraction, I think I doubt if anyone would have been able to focus on work and really do client
calls. So you go and sack everybody because orders in the past weren't given. Within a week, it's like, sorry, you weren't doing what I think is necessary, even though I wasn't your owner a few days back, so let's sack you. It just seems bizarre. And also the cruel manner in which it was done.